Hello there and welcome to today's video in which I'm going to be showing you how to make these flowers here. So I have a peony, a gerbera or a Gerbera, whichever way you want to pronounce it, and a Calla Lily. So I need to make the stalks first, and I've got some bamboo sticks here and I want to basically cut them in half, so I've got my scissors here. And to ensure that the polymer clay sticks well during baking, I'm just going to scuff the ends up basically with my scissors here. And I'd advise a bit of caution while you're doing this, as obviously you want to avoid splinters. And now I'll just add some polymer clay to the end. So I've got some green clay here and I'll just wrap that around. And what I want to do is basically create like a golf tee shape, basically, like so. And for the Gerbera daisy, I just need to ensure that the base is a little bigger, like so. So I've just popped these on a baking sheet and they're now off to the oven. And at this point you'll need to refer to your own brand of polymer clay's baking instructions. So I'm going to start by making the peony, and there are various types of peonies, so I've kind of gone with this one for inspiration, but I'm sure I'll be making some others at some point. So just need to work on the central piece first of all. So I just need to add a load of tiny little pieces of yellow clay here. I was intending actually to make roses this week, but I realised while making them, or trying to make them, that the bases were the wrong shape, so I'm sure I'll be doing those next time around when I make flowers. So at this point you should have a piece that looks kind of like this, and it's really useful to have a cup around just to place your work in while you're working on other elements. I'm moving on to the petals now, and I've got a little cutout tool. And incidentally, I have a list of the tools that I use fairly frequently down below in description. And I'll just take the ends off. And I want to create a little bit of almost movements in my petals, so just creating like a little wavy shape, like so. And I'll just start adding those to the central piece, like so, and it's a little fiddly, so you might need to reposition your petals a few times. So there's the first three on the first layer. So now I can start building up behind layer one, like so. And I want to ensure that you can see the second layer of petals, so they're going between the top layer, if that makes sense. And I'll just ensure that the petals are nice and secure, just using a wet wipe here, just pressing them in. And for the last layer, I'm using full petals, if you like, so I've not taken the ends off these ones. And I'll just start positioning those on the flower. And again, I'll use my wet wipe just to really pull that clay into the base. And you might want to spend just a few moments repositioning your petals. And my peony is all done and spinning around, and now I can move on to my lily. So I'm moving on to my Calla Lily now, and I need to make the central piece, so I'm just adding some texture to the yellow clay here with my small size ball tool, and I'll just add a piece on to the base like so, and I'll wrap around a piece of white clay, and it doesn't have to be super neat. And I'm just going to roll that just to ensure that it lays nice and flat on the base. And then I'll add my clay like so. For the main parts of the lily, I've got a cookie cutter tool here, so I'll just cut out a circle And I'll just go around the edges with a wet wipe to ensure that it's super neat basically. And now I need to kind of stretch it a bit really. I don't want it to be a full circle, I want it to be more of a sort of oval shape. And once I'm happy with that, I can then basically wrap it around the base like so. And it's a teeny tiny bit fiddly, so you might need to try a few attempts to do this. And once your petal is in place, you can then just bend over the top like so. And I'm just going to smooth down the bottom with a wet wipe just to ensure that it's nice and secure. And once that's done, I'm just going to spend a few moments just really trying to work in a little bit of detail, like a wave detail, onto the petal. And there we go, my Calla Lily is all done. How easy was that? So now I can move on to my Gerbera. I keep getting confused as to whether these are called Gerberas or Gerberas, so I'm sure you know which flower I mean. It's a colourful daisy basically. So I just want to add some dark brown clay to the base, and of course I'm using my wider base for this particular flower. And I've got some lovely orange clay here, so I want to make some petals like so, just with my cutout tool. And incidentally, you can make a cutout tool from a tea-light casing if you don't have a circular cutout tool. And I'll link below to a video previously where I've made one. So now I just need to start adding a load of teeny tiny little dark brown balls onto the base. And now I can start adding my orange petals. And I'm just flattening down one end of the petal with my finger just onto my work desk here, so then they can be placed just onto the base. And once I've got my first layer done, then I can start work on layer 2. And I'm just ensuring that obviously you can see the petals between the previous ones. So there we go, that's layer 2 all done. So your flower should look like this at this point. And it definitely needs another layer, so I'm on to layer 3 now. And if you wanted to, you could always add another layer onto your Gerbera too. It's really down to the aesthetic that you're going for really. What I will say is that obviously the more polymer clay you put on the flower, the heavier it's going to be at the ends. So I'm happy with my petals now, so I'm going to continue with some teeny tiny little polymer clay balls in both orange and in the dark brown. And once they're done, I just want to make the back look a little neater, so I'm making basically some kind of green petal shapes like so, and I'll start adding those. So I've added all of those, so that's my Gerbera all done. So now I'm ready to bake my flowers, so I've just placed them into a cup because obviously they can't be placed directly onto the baking sheet, so I've placed another cup on top just so they don't fall basically while they're baking. And at this point you'll need to refer to your own brand of polymer clay's baking instructions. So now my flowers are all baked and cooled. I need to basically add some green to the stems here, so I'm using a permanent coloured pen here, and I'll leave details down below of the ones that I use, but you could also use acrylic paints if you prefer. And for the lily I need to add a bit more detail basically, so I've got a lighter green here and I'm just trying to build up a bit of colour at the bottom, and I'll add in some yellow as well. And it's helpful to use your fingers to really try and blend that colour. And now I can just add the darker green to this stem and then try and blend that in at the bottom like so. And here they are all done, and I'm really happy with them, and in particular the Calla Lily, I think that's definitely the most successful of the three. So let me know what other flowers you'd like to see me make. Give it a like if you got this far, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, bye bye.